I think that's why there's a good general public who will tell me, "Hey, I've used an Android phone before. I don't like it. I don't like it. I went back to
Mhm.
Apple." I have a lot of people who have told me that story. I'm sure there are a lot of people who are watching this who have had a similar story where they say, "I've used an Android before. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it." And then
Oh,
my
yeah, without doubt, without doubt. Samsung is the one that also pushes people to Apple because they see that all the stuff on there and like it's confusing.
well, and
You
that's
know.
exactly what I'm trying to get at because the first question I asked them is, "Well, what kind of Android phone did you have?" Because that's always going to be the next question. You
Hmm.
want to know what they have, and usually when they tell you it's a Samsung, in as a tech person, I'm sure you're the same way, Mike. For people like us, we look at that and we say, okay, so you had this Samsung. I bet you didn't change anything in there. You just used everything that it gave you, and which is what we're talking about
Hmm.
today.
Hmm.
And for me, immediately, I'm like, that's why you didn't like it. I mean
My
that's my assumption.
yeah.
Um, I again, and that's why I'm always like, well, you should have tried a Pixel. You should have tried a OnePlus because that gives you the
And then
stock.
we're like, what are they?
Yeah, and then
Who are they?
trying to explain the stock experience is it's
Difficult.
very confusing because
Mhm.
they have an Apple phone or they have an iPhone that it uh iOS does not share their software with any other company. So no other company is messing around with it. They're not adding a skin to it. They're not adding extra apps.
Mhm.
And so that's where that confusion lies. Anyway, Mike,
I
go
mean,
ahead.
how many
I
times?
just want to
No,
interject
no, no,
there.
no. Because how many people you when you say to them, "Well, what kind of phone you have?" and they go, they look at you and you go Android and go, "Oh no, Samsung." They think Samsung. They think Samsung is it. They don't understand the two different ecosystems, or
They
two.
don't.
They don't. They look at I have a Samsung, or
Hmm.
I have this phone. I think it's an LG. I gotten that before.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I had somebody with a problem with the Samsung Notes that they have, and
Hmm.
he was really using it. And I forget the problem. I said, "Well, go take a look at Google Keep. It's a great note app." And he goes, "Oh, really? Oh, geez." Here goes my Pixel. Well, I said the G word, and all of a sudden lit up.
That's
And
yeah, that's the app I recommend for people too for
yeah,
note taking.
yeah, and they kind of like go, "Oh," and it's like they don't know that to go into the store and go and look to see. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's like it's on the phone. I guess I'm stuck with it. You know what I mean? They don't know to go that there's other offerings, and then the same thing with the messages, for example, or the same thing with documents or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
They really don't. They just figure this is what it comes with, and this is what I'm going to live with.
Yeah, and
You know what I
actually
mean?
it's funny because and this is an Apple story, but I had somebody who was talking to me about the iPhone 11 and comparing it to their older iPhone 8, right? And they asked, well, really, what's the big difference? It doesn't have you know, a fingerprint reader on it anymore or a home button. I'm like, well, no, there's a lot of other things. But again, the standard person doesn't know that. They don't know all the other features it has. And I'm like, yeah. And plus the camera on the iPhone 11, it has the ultra wide lens. And then he was like, what ultra wide lens? I'm like, open your camera app and press 0.5 on it. And then the immediate response was like, "Whoa, what is?" And they've had this phone for the last 2 or 3 months and had
Mm-hmm.
no idea. And again, a lot of people a lot of people don't use their phones to the full potential. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person that you don't know
No.
what you're doing. It's just a lot of people have just specific things that they do on their phone, and they're not going to go out of their way to say, let me uninstall this, let me disable that, let me turn this option on or off,
Mm-hmm.
they just use the phone as it comes.
Yeah.
And so actually this also brings me to a good point of the reason I get upset about let me get to this, sorry. The reason I get upset with my iPhone is because this looks like a mess, which is this is my
And I'm glad I brought that up.
well, so so
Go
so
ahead.
the home screen is a mess. It's a mess. It's ugly. If it was up to me, it would be like my pixels charging. Big
Oh,
surprise.
surprise.
I know. Oh, it's at 100%. I can unplug now. So,
Okay.
this is my Pixel, and it's clean, right? I just have a dock here, and I can
Mhm.
customize it any way I want. But here's my reasoning of why Apple will
So
never change.
just like that.
Yeah,
But
there you
then,
go.
then wait a minute. And the slop is on the side.
See, I don't even do that. Mine's clear. Well, so here's the thing. The reason I feel that the iPhone has all of their shit on their home screen is because if they allow an option to hide apps or move them somewhere else or put
Mhm,
them in a drawer, people will forget. People who are not techie will forget where their icons are. How
mhm.
do I get to that app again? How do I? And so I think that's why Apple does it the way they do.
Yeah.
I think they
And
do
but
it for simplicity's sake.
I broke your chops about how come you don't if you why don't you put them in folders? Why don't you organize them in some kind of grouping?
No, so you mean so are you saying
You
so that
could
my
have a clean
wait.
screen
Are
with
you
the
saying that so this screen is clean? Because there,
mhm.
how am I going to clean the screen up unless you're saying to put all of the icons in one folder?
No, I didn't say all of them. Group them. You could still have you see the
They
pixel
are
has that
grouped. They're grouped. These are. Oh, you mean like have something called
folders.
banking apps or whatever? Is
Yeah,
that what you're
right,
saying?
right. Like
Yeah,
banking apps,
but
one for
still, no
YouTube,
matter
one
no. So then I'm gonna have a full page of folders here instead.
no. Yeah, you gotta be kidding me. That's
What?
every you can't get a folder, a group of folder. I wish I had still had my iPhone.
Yeah,
I had folders. I had
yeah.
at
I
least I could see
understand.
part of
Yes,
my
I understand. I understand that you can put folders in here. What I'm trying to say is this is always going to be cluttered. No matter what you do,
true,
this home screen will always be cluttered. I mean,
true.
this
I'm
front
not gonna
page
argue.
are all the apps I use the most. These are all the
Mhm.
apps I use. So I organized it, but it is still messy. And I hate reaching up to the top here because I don't have like huge hands or any, my fingers aren't, I'm not 6 feet tall and have like,
Wait a minute.
a seven
Yeah,
foot
it's almost like
wingspan.
T-Rex arms. This is
I'm not MK. I'm not MKBHD who has like two and a half size of a human hand or
Man, yeah,
whatever.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
But again, what I'm trying to say is yeah, it might be cluttered. It might be annoying to look at on an iPhone, but I think it's that way because most people, if you give them the option to hide those icons or put
Mhm.
them somewhere else, they're gonna forget how to do that. Perfect example. You want to know why I know people forget where they put apps? My mom. My mom uses an S9. I gave her my old S9, and I here is my solution to fix from her
Go ahead.
always forgetting where she puts her apps. I put a skin on it and or maybe it's a setting in the S9. It's been a while, but I locked it. I locked the home screen so she could not move apps away or whatever because she would always forget where
Oh,
stuff goes.
okay. I have
Yeah.
my problem with my wife is she'll fat thing. I call fat finger everything, and all of a sudden goes, "Where's my so and so?" I'm like going, and I'm like, I'll take it and I swipe over, and she actually moved the app to the next page over,
Yes, and I've
or
seen that
she'll
happen a
yeah,
lot too.
and
Lock the
yeah.
screen. Lock the
No,
screen. If there
I
if
got
there are
it.
a certain
Okay.
number of apps that you know that your wife uses and
Hmm.
she's not going to be downloading anything new, probably
Hmm.
not anyway,
Yeah.
lock it. Just lock it. And then
Okay.
that way it will always look the same every day and then the confusion will go away.
Thank you for that point.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't think to look at that one.